splish splash, I was taking a bath. Long about a Saturday night.
Oh, Bathtub Boy. Really big. No. Anyway, I could make this bigger than
what was that?
I told Bob I want news in an echo chamber here. It's on everywhere. This came from AP. Keith Olbermann, known around here as Bathtub Boy, host of the MSNBC show In the Tank for President... that's called Countdown with Keith Olbermann.
We're number one.
Keith Olbermann has been suspended indefinitely without pay.
Wow.
From MSNBC. For making cash donations to 3 Democrats in violation of NBC's policy.
To borrow a phrase from journalism.
Politico reported this morning, we all saw this and thought, is it possible he finally crossed the line at NBC?
Yeah.
Frankly, they let him get away with so much. My old boss, Phil Griffin, just lets him run wild. I didn't think they'd actually suspend him. But Politico reported that Olbermann had donated $2,400 to 3 different Democrats. 2 in Arizona, and then in Kentucky to the one, Jack Conway, the guy who opposed Rand Paul.
I'm the a-hole.
NBC News policy does not prohibit employees from donating to political candidates, but it requires them to obtain prior approval from NBC News executives before doing so. Phil Griffin said in a statement, I became aware of Keith's political contributions late last night. Mindful of NBC News policies and standards, which John Gibson, might interject, he has not been mindful of for years, I have suspended him indefinitely without pay.
Resign.
The AP story reads, Olbermann, who does not hide his liberal views, oh, God. What are they? Is this like an understatement contest?
Had to qualify that statement.
Has acknowledged donations of $2,400 each to Kentucky Senate candidate Jack Conway, Arizona Representatives Raul Grilava, and Gabrielle Giffords during this election cycle. NBC's ethics policies, which they had to find on a shelf somewhere and dust off. What are you laughing about? It's true. There's a green book there on every reporter and anchor's desk, the green book, and it says what you can and can't do. I mean, they have just gone ahead and sent Bics around to everybody. Burn that up. You don't need to pay attention to that anymore. NBC's ethics policy generally bars political activity, including contributions, without the prior consent of the president of NBC News, Steve Kappas.
I warn you all.
Anyone working for NBC News who takes part in civic or other outside activities may find that these activities jeopardize his or her standing as an impartial journalist.
Indeed we do.
As an impartial journalist, because they may create the appearance of a conflict of interest.
This advice, Mr. Bush, shut the hell up.
Such activities may include participation in or contributions to political campaigns or groups that espouse controversial positions. You should report any such potential conflicts in advance to obtain prior approval of the president of NBC News or his designee. The paper that policy was written on is yellowing with age. In a statement released before the suspension was announced, Olbermann said, I did not privately or publicly encourage anyone else to donate to these campaigns, nor to any others in this election or any previous ones, nor have I previously donated to any political campaign at any level. Is that supposed to
just this time?
Is that supposed to mean something, like an excuse?
You got it wrong.
He called me an idiot once. I've never given a dime because I'm not allowed to.
He invented worst person in the world for me.
John Gibson of Fixed News, today's worst person in the world.
And then he quote crops and lies and twists and when he first started this, I called my old friend and boss who attended my wedding, Phil Griffin, his boss. said, hey, isn't this out of line? I mean, isn't this a violation of NBC News standards? Personal attacks without the opportunity to respond on NBC News? You know what he did? He just played the message for Olbermann, who did it again, who then promptly went on the air and said, Gibson's whining and made me a worse person again. This couldn't happen to a nicer blowhard. In a statement released, the candidates Olbermann, I called him Obama. I guess I should, shouldn't I? The candidates Olbermann donated to had mixed results. Conway lost to Rand Paul. Both Grilava and Giffords lead in tight races that have not yet been decided. All have appeared on Olbermann's show. And Grilava, if that's the way you pronounce his name, has appeared multiple times. As Politico notes, it was nice of them to note, Olbermann and MSNBC President Phil Griffin have been critical of Fox News over its two $1 million donations to the Republican Governors Association and another Republican-leaning group during the midterm election cycle. On October 7th, in reference to the Fox News donations, Olbermann asked House Majority Whip James Clyburn if there is a legislative response available when a cable news network, quote, goes beyond having a point of view and actually starts to shill for partisan causes and actually starts to donate to partisan groups of one party.
Oops.
We now have another million reasons Fox News is the Republican news channel, correct?
So, maybe James Clyburn can make a law in which Keith Olbermann will not only be suspended, but could be jailed.
John Gibson of Fixed News, today's worst person in the world.
Always striving to be the worst to Bathtub Boy.
You should crawl off into a hole and die.
But the best to you. John Gibson.